I don't have to give you this gentleman's qualifications as an actor. I think he is probably considered by other actors and people in the entertainment profession as probably the greatest actor of our times. I admire him for that. I also admire Marlon Brando for his conscience as an American and his moral commitment when he believes in something. Would you welcome, please, Mr. Marlon Brando.
Thank you. The last time I was on the show, I can hardly remember it, but I remember vague things about it. I almost fell down as I came in. I was so dead drunk I couldn't...
No, you weren't. Now, people ask about that show.
That's true. You know what they do for people who don't know? They don't have the custom anymore, but they used to... They have a room back there where everybody sits and talks before the show, and they used to serve drinks. And you just start listening to the show, and not being a habitual tipper, I would listen and talk and listen and jabber with people. And the first thing you know, you're over the abyss and you haven't realized it. And they say, now, on the stage, you know.
The first time we started that was when you were on the first time in California.
Well, that was when you finished it, I think.
That's right. And we said no more. And because we served champagne, we were in California, we thought that would be swell. And you walked out. I remember you weren't as bad as you thought you were.
That's a compliment.
And you came out and you saw the lights. And the lights hit you. And you went, all of a sudden you sounded just like Stanley Kowalski. I said, man, well, these lights are kind of bright, aren't they? And it was a great interview. Well, one of the highlights of our show. So we've given that up.
You'll have to rerun it for me because it's a blur.
Marlon, we knew you were in town. We got together and we have talked. We've known each other for a few years. And I'm sure that most people around the country who, unless they have not read the paper, have realized, and it was in headlines from other papers yesterday, that you have stepped out of a motion picture that you were going to do with Elia Kazan, The Arrangement, for a very important reason. And I thought you might like to mention why, and then we'll pick up from there.
Yeah, it was a very tough decision to make because I can't think of a director that's better than Gaj Kazan. To me, he is the best director. And I've looked forward, during the intervening years since I worked with him last, to working with him again. It's, of course, the story of the year, perhaps the last 2 years. And I wanted to do it more than anything, and King got shot. And I sat in front of the television set, and I wondered what it meant to me that he's dead, and that he died, and his last act was trying to get a 15-cent wage increase for garbage men, and that he was hauled to his grave by 2 mules on a rickety cart, and that on his tombstone was written, free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last. And in his last speech on television, as I watched the news reports come over, it showed his last words the night before, and he said that he'd been to the mountain and that he'd seen the promised land. And he said, I don't know if I'm going to get there with you, but it doesn't matter about me, because I know we're going to get there. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. And he was shot dead the next day. And I thought, somehow this has got to matter somewhere. And if we don't, all the citizens, do something that is a person-to-person contribution, I don't think that we're really going to have any place to come home to if we do get a job. I felt that it was, there was just nothing that I could do in terms of what I know and what I see and what I feel. I couldn't think of any other alternative rather than to make my time, my energies, and my money fully available to do what I can as an individual to rectify the situation we're in.
You think it rather paradoxical that he seemed to accomplish, by dying, something that he might not have accomplished, maybe in time, but since his death. And you sometimes feel that maybe there's going to be a period of 2 or 3 weeks where everybody is going to say, yes, it was terrible, and it made everybody conscious of it, but really, maybe things won't change unless, the time becomes right now.
I don't think they will, Johnny. I think that nothing is really going to change unless I do it, unless the trombone player does it, unless the guy sitting and watching the television with a beer can does something about it. The president appointed a rather conservative group of men to investigate the reasons for civil disorders. And it came out in this book I brought along tonight, which might be of interest. It's called The Report of the National Advisory Commission on Civil Disorders. It's a Bantam book. You can get it anywhere. But it tells in chapter and verse the situation we're in, why we're in it, and why the black people can't get up off their knees. And it points very specifically to the white man and his feeling about the black man. It points to racism and discrimination in its most subtle forms and its most cruel and blatant forms. And that's where it is. That's the Bible. The President commissioned these people to find out. They did find out, and it's before us now. I don't think there's 1 in 100,000 Americans that have ever read it. But it isn't enough to talk anymore. It isn't enough to shake our fingers. We have to do something. We have to get up our money. We have to give our time. We have to give our hearts. And we must be involved in a person-to-person program. Fundamentally, because now that King is dead, many people, I think, and you've certainly felt it too, that there is the vacuum formed, and people...
I think a lot of people are worried that maybe the militants might rush in and try to fill that vacuum.
Well, that's where it's going to go. And I think that we've got one chance. I was talking with Walter Reuther on the way to King's funeral in the march, and Walter Reuther said that we've got one last chance as white people to straighten things around in this country. And if we don't do it soon, and if we don't do it massively, then it's going to be Armageddon, it's going to be guns, it's going to be thousands of people killed, it will be internment camps. We will have reduced ourselves as a nation and our stature as a people, importantly. And so the only thing I could think to come up with was trying to get a program where people would contribute no less than 1% of their entire year's earnings to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which was King's organization, to further his philosophy and to further his works, to carry on his good works in the name of nonviolence and with the help of his beautiful wife, Mrs. King. I think there is where we have to throw our full support. I think the black people are losing heart and belief, whatever residual of faith that the white man was going to treat them equally and fairly is now running out. And I dread to think what's going to happen. But we now have to do it in a person-to-person way.
I think something that people, I don't want to interrupt you when I talk here, I think something that people don't think of, the more the other person benefits economically and socially, the more everybody will benefit in the long run.
Well,
it has to better everybody, not only them. That's not part of it. It's got to do more for everybody in the long run, because
exactly
the more you up anybody else, the more you're going to be up along the way.
That's right. That's what Reuther said. He said that it costs us an enormous amount of money to keep black people in the position that they're in. You see, what will happen if we do nothing? People will be angrier and angrier and angrier. Frustrations will rise, and tensions will mount, and violence will occur. Because black people have been promised help, that help has not been forthcoming. At the same time, as that tension and violence rises, there will be a white withdrawal, so that people will be in fear and anger on both sides. They will be forming what you might say is polarization. A polarization will be formed, and the only people that are going to be in the center are people with guns.
Well, there's no way this country can exist with two races apart.
It can exist, but we're not going to exist the way we'd like to exist that way.
No, I said it really can't exist in the long run.
No. I think that we do have one chance left, one shot in the barrel, and the time is running out. But, so I got together with some people, and we decided that we were going to give up our time and money and use our time for action rather than non-action, rather than just jaw action. We were going to do something in a very specific way. What we hope to do is to try to get the Congress to pass these laws, to get the legislators to pass the laws that have to be passed in order for us to come together in peace and unity and productiveness. But that's going to take a certain amount of time. But I might at this point give you some very encouraging news.
I know you've talked to a certain number of people all in our business already about this.
In the last day and a half, or actually today and yesterday, I've talked to a number of people. I got one hesitation and no refusals. Les Crane, Rudy Kelly, Murph Griffin, Joey Bishop, Barbara Streisand, Joanne Woodward, Zev Putterman, Paul Newman, Alex Cohen, who's the producer of the Emmy Awards, and Drew Pearson, who I just left on the phone a few minutes ago, are all willing to give up 1% of their annual salary and send it as a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King and his foundation. I'm going to give up 10% of my earnings for the year, and there's no limit. We don't feel that it's right that we should accept anything less than 1%. But that isn't enough. Money isn't enough. Money will buy us time. But programs and someone said you can't legislate hate in the human heart. It's there. But we have to ask ourselves. I mean, this report clearly indicates that the black people have not been able to pick themselves up by their bootstraps because of white feelings against them. And we, all of us, have to find out, what is that? Why do we feel that way? What are these reasons? And the first time you talk to a racist, when I say racist, I'm not talking like a bigot like Wallace or something like that. But if you talk to someone who is a racist, they don't know it. They don't feel it. I think all of us, if we really mine the deepest areas of our feelings, will find maybe some trace of that. And we've got to find that. We've got to root it out, and we've got to go ahead in terms of action and feeling. And primarily, that's
a positive commitment.
Yes, a positive.
When you called me, we talked the day before yesterday. You asked me, and you explained this, and I said at that time, and I said I didn't want to be wishy-washy. And you said, I don't know. I guess I wanted, to hear more about what was going to happen. And as you know me well enough, I think, I said if I do anything, I certainly did not want to do it, for publicity's sake. Right. And at the same time, if you don't get the message out, I guess, and do something in public, you are committed, but sometimes you're committed anonymously. So when you asked me would I be willing, and I told you this afternoon, I said, I'll tell you tonight. Now, I would be very happy to be a part of this, because I think, truly, it is time to stand up and be counted in this country where you stand, rather than just talking about it. Because it's pretty strange. If we cannot learn to live together in this country, I don't know how in hell's sake, we are ever going to learn to live with anybody else in the world or understand the Asian or anybody else if we can't understand the people who are here. So I would be very happy to give you tonight, and as I say, I would prefer not to do this, but I'm doing it only as a help, because anything that will get this thing going, I would be delighted. I would be happy to give you a check, and I told you about this before the show, for 1% of my income for the year, for exactly what you want, and I hope it does some good.
It's beautiful.
Send you home. Huh? Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, Mel Brooks was one of our first guests from our first show. The other guests that particular night were Joan Crawford, Groucho Marx, and Rudy Vallee, along with Tony, who will be out shortly. Then I think Mel had, the album, The 2,000-Year-Old Man, had not been out too long. Anyway, Mel Brooks has gone on to bigger things as a writer, producer, star, kumquat, ashtray, shoehorn, many things. Would you welcome Mr. Mel Brooks? Well, here we are.
Wow.
Just like yesterday.
I was the last guest
Were you?
on that show, and I'm the first guest on it. I've moved forward. I've moved ahead.
5 spots up the couch.
Yes.
Do you remember the first show at all? Some of it's just kind of a haze to me.
I remember that.
Groucho, you know, did the first 15 minutes that night.
Yes, yes. I remember Joan Crawford came on with a wire hanger. I don't know why. But anyway, no. It was a... I'm only kidding.
Of course you are. That's
Yeah.
what you get paid for.
Yeah. Gee, this is really, it's very touching. It's very moving. It's very emotional. A week from now, somebody's going to be saying, "Where's Johnny?"
Anyway,
just...
give me those pictures. I'm going to show you this. Somebody dug these out today. I want to show you first. I'm going to show them to the audience. These are from the actual first show. Black and white pictures. All the Kinneys and the tapes of those early shows are gone, like the first 10 years. But yeah, that's true. The tapes are all gone. But here you are sitting at the desk with Joan Crawford. Look at the monitor. You can see it better. There is a younger Mel Brooks and a younger Johnny Carson and a live Joan Crawford. No, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that way. Oh, hey, folks. Hey, I had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry. I don't know what you were doing here. What the hell were you doing here?
I was probably doing my impression of Tony Bennett, who came on after me.
From the first show.
Look at our hair, got all white. What happened to us?
I don't know. What happened?
I don't know. I had a Danish and a cup of coffee, and I'm suddenly 65. What the hell happened to me?
Dorian Gray, right? The king lives. Why didn't you wait for me? Why didn't you wait for the king is dead? Yeah. Long live the king.
I'm sorry. I think I got Ed's drink. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Hey, I was talking about a 2,000-year-old man.
The king lives. How did that used to go? Remember?
What do you mean? You were just taking a drink.
Yes.
And they say,
yes.
the king is dead. Long live the king. The king lives. The king lives. That was.
The king is still alive.
That's right.
Is still alive.
That's
Not yet. Oh, those were the good old days. I just had to get it straight. It straight.
Okay. 2,000-year-old man. You ever do that anymore?
Yeah, at parties and things. By the way, Rhino Records loves it so much, they're going to reissue those things on CDs.
I remember going to parties when you and Carl... I remember the live parties when you and Carl would sit around and he would just start throwing anything like, what did you do for recreation when you were 2,000 years old?
I said golf. We played golf.
Played golf 2,000 years ago?
Many thousands of years ago was the matrix, the beginning of golf.
I didn't know that.
It started very naturally. A skunk would come by the mouth of your cave. You'd take a stick, you'd say, "Get the hell out of here." It would travel a while.
That's right.
You know? Go by somebody else. He'd say, "Get the hell out of here."
So there were no golf balls,
When it
of
fell
course.
in a hole, then everybody was happy.
That's
that
right.
was golf.
I see. It started that way.
Sure, that's how it started. I just made that up.
Did you have any children?
I had over 42,000
42,000 children?
Yes. And not one comes to visit me.
Say, you do remember.
I do remember.
Oh, man. Where'd you grow up? New York?
I grew up in New York. I grew up in Williamsburg. Williamsburg is actually a section of Brooklyn, just where the Williamsburg Bridge enters Brooklyn. It's the only thing that's not afraid to enter Brooklyn. Anyway.
Was it a tough neighborhood?
Yeah, it was very tough. It was very tough. As a matter of fact, it was so tough. We used to go to the Woolworths to steal. Naturally, nobody had money.
Yeah.
You know? So we go to the Woolworths, and there was this guy, a little Filipino guy that was demonstrating yo-yos. And he'd say, now we going to walk the dog. And he'd do it, and he'd walk the yo-yos. And he'd say, now we walking the dog back. And he'd walk the dog. While he was walking the dog, we were stealing yo-yos. We were very busy. One day, unbeknownst to me, but knownst to the manager of the store, I copped a little toy pistol, this big little thing, and I put it in here. I started to go out the door, and he said, "Hey!" And I pulled out the gun. I said, "Get back! I'll blow your head off!" And he jumped back, and I ran away. I still got the gun.
You know, I actually stole something from Woolworths also when I was a kid. Most embarrassing. It was a little ring, you know, like and I put it, and the manager came over and said, "Would you give me the ring?" I said, "I didn't take anything." He says, "Let's go to your father's office." I live in a small town. And he started to walk me over, and I did the first known case of plea bargaining, I think. I said, I gave it to him at Pride, and he says, "All right, but isn't that awful?"
Oh, it's awful. I snuck into a movie house with my friend Benji, and they said to us, "Look, do you want a beating, or should we tell your mother?" I said, "Tell my mother." Benji said, "I'll take the beating." He was a fool, you know?
Did you used to work in the Catskills?
Oh, yeah, the mountains.
Upstate New York, the mountains.
The Borscht Belt.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
A lot of the great comedians, comics started there.
It was a great phenomenon. I was a drummer.
I know.
On Saturday afternoons, Buddy Rich took an hour out of his life and would
sit down and
teach me how to play. And it happened because Mickey Rich was his brother, the alto, wonderful alto sax player. And Mickey was a friend of mine. Went to Lincoln High School, and I went back to the house, and there was this drum set, and I went boom, 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 and at the door I heard "Stinks." I turned around, there was Buddy. He said, "But I want you here at 11 o'clock every day." And he taught me for about 6 or 7 months. He took an hour out of his Saturdays, you know, when he wasn't on the road. He was the greatest guy.
Trouble with Buddy teaching, he never read music, and he would just say, "Here's the way you do. How do you do that?" Well, you do it this way.
Right. He'd show you.
We couldn't tell you.
And then when he saw Blazing Saddles, I finally made it. You know, I made this remarkable hit, Blazing Saddles. It was a big hit. And I ran into Buddy at a favorite Italian restaurant we used to go to in New York, Patsy's.
Right.
And he came up to me with tears in his eyes, and he said, "Gee, it's such a big hit, and you could have been a good drummer, Mel."
That killed him, huh?
And he meant it. He meant
great.
it. But working,
Do we have to leave for a second? Oh, we'll interrupt for this, but we're coming back. See where you are, folks. Okay, we are back. Now, all right, I want you to tell. Now, you've told it. I know you've told it.
I love doing this show. I don't do it often, especially when I have nothing to sell.
Of course.
It's terrible. But you always, in the 40 years that I know you, you always listened. The other show hosts, whether it was Merv or Les Kern, I mean, they never looked at you. They never listened. They were always very busy with, get the cotton candy later for them, you know. They're always talking to somebody off camera. You always were a mensch, a gentleman.
Well, thank you.
I mean, really.
If I don't listen to you, I don't know what we're talking about. You got to listen. Anyway, thank you. I know you've told the story before, the Cary Grant story.
I did that on the last show.
Who cares? Tell the Cary Grant story.
All right, but you know it. All right, folks, when I left the Sid Caesar show, well, not actually left, I was kind of fired, but sort of fired. Anyway. I came out to Hollywood to write a movie. I was at Universal Studios, working with a guy called Marvin Schwartz. I trusted him. Anyway, across the street, I saw, there was another bungalow. We were working in a bungalow, and on the top of the bungalow it said Grand Art. I said, what does that mean? What the hell is Grand Art? He said, well, that's Cary Grant's company. Grand Art. I said, well, does Cary Grant ever come to that bungalow? He said, yeah, sure. I said, sure. You're kidding. He said, no, he'll be here in about 10 minutes. He comes every day for lunch. He'll be here about 10 to 12. He shows up. It's about 11:45. He'll be here. I said, Cary Grant, I'm going to see him in person. Yes, Cary Grant will be here. So I waited by the drapes. And sure enough, a guy in a double-breasted suit with a little yellow boutonniere walks down. He leaves this. The guy jumps up the steps 2 at a time, bounds through the door. I said, it looked like Cary Grant. He said, it was Cary Grant. I said, holy mackerel, Cary Grant. He's about 60 yards away from me. Cary Grant. I grew up in Brooklyn. Cary Grant. Oh, my God, I think I'm going to faint. He said, hey, we see him every day. I said, but I don't. My, Cary Grant. Cary Grant. So anyway, I waited. He said, we'll be coming out to lunch soon. I said, he's coming out to lunch soon. We're going to see him. See, there, about 10 minutes later, he bounds down the steps. I said, oh, my God, it's Cary Grant. It's Cary Grant. So he said, come on, let's go to lunch. So we walk down a path, and I somehow take another road, and I hear behind me, Mayor Brooks. I turn around, it's Cary Grant. I bought every single one of your albums. You've made me poor, blah. I said, oh, my God, he's talking to me. Cary Grant is actually talking to me. I said, Marvin, what should I do? He said, talk back to him. But all right. I said, hello, Cary Grant. I called him by one name, Cary Grant.
Cary Grant.
I figured that was his name.
Cary Grant.
I didn't know him well enough to call him Mr. Grant or Cary. I called him Cary Grant. I said, hi, Cary Grant. You look good, Cary Grant. Are you really Cary Grant? And he said, come on, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going into the lunchroom there. He said, oh, the commissary, yeah, come with me, Bart, I'll buy you lunch. Oh, my God, Cary Grant is going to buy me lunch. Oh, so I went in, and I sat next to him, and he had a hard-boiled egg. That's all he had. I don't know why. And I had a tuna fish sandwiches on whole wheat with a slice of tomato. No mayo, hold the mayo. And I ate the sandwich, and then we left together, and he said, walking down the path, he said, what's your favorite color? I said, blue. He said, yellow. I said, yellow is yours, blue is mine. What's your favorite car? I said, a Buick. He said, a Rolls Royce. I said, that's nice. And we talked like that, you know. Me saying Buick, he saying Rolls Royce. It was a very interesting conversation. He went to Grand Art, I went to Schwartz. I thought that was it. The next day, about 11:45, we get a call. Is Mel Brooks there? Yes. It's Cary Grant. Would you like to go to lunch? Sure, Cary. All right. Holy mackerel, Cary Grant. All right, I comb my hair. I brush my teeth with my finger. Very nervous. Cary Grant, we go in again. He has a hard-boiled egg. All right, I don't say nothing. I have a corned beef sandwich with mustard on rye. Okay, one of the few out there that ate it that way. The rest had it with mayonnaise on white. So he says, what do you like to play? I said, well, I like to play football. I like to play baseball. He said, well, I like to play party games. Oh, that's interesting. Like Ghost. What is Ghost? You dress up? No, G, you get a G. H, you get an H. Ghost. Oh, fine. And we talked. Okay, interesting. He goes to Grand Art. I go to Schwartz. I'm back home. The next day at 11:45, ring, it's Cary. All right, I meet him outside. We go on a lunch together. Me and Cary Grant, Mel Brooks and Cary Grant, we're holding hands. We don't know what to do for each other. We don't know what to say to each other. Anyway, let me tell you the punchline. Comes Friday, the phone rings, it's Cary Grant. I said, I'm not in.
Enough already.
We didn't know what to say. I had nothing more to say to him. I said my favorite color. I said my favorite car.
I'm not in.
I mean, there was nothing more to talk about.
We'll be back.
We'd exhausted our conversation.
As you probably know, one of the most amazing pictures to come out in the past few years is E.T., and this young lady has earned a great deal of attention from her appearance in it, and she is just 7 years old. Would you welcome, please, Drew Barrymore. That's a pretty funny entrance. Did you rehearse? Did you rehearse that?
No.
Are you okay? Yeah. You know, you're not the first one ever to do that on the show. We've had some other people have come in there some night, grown-up people, who've missed that step and fallen right here.
It's probably my shoes because they're real slippery.
Are they? Are they brand new shoes?
Yeah.
They're very pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you pick out your own clothes?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? Yeah. Have you seen something you like to wear sometimes and you want it and your mother or somebody won't let you buy it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. I've been waiting all my life to meet you, and I finally got
Oh, your whole life.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Well, that's why I stayed on the show an extra 7 years, just so you would show up here. Well, I wanted to meet you, too, because I've been reading all about you, and you're a lovely young actress.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look very nice. Yeah.
Do you know I stay up till a couple of hours to watch your show?
Do you really?
Just because of you.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, come on now. Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand all of the jokes?
Some of them.
Well, you fit right in. Have you always lived in California? You look real healthy. Are you into, you know what aerobics is? Aerobics, dancing, and all of those things? Are you?
Practice it last.
Do you really?
I was getting aerobicized because I didn't want to get confused.
Didn't want to get confused?
Well, I was dancing, while my mom was always on the telephone,
Right.
She's always on the telephone.
Yeah.
And she never gets a chance to kiss me goodnight. Ring! Ring!
Yeah. On the telephone?
On the telephone.
Yeah. What does she talk about on the telephone? Do you know? Nothing personal. You don't have to give any secrets away. And
Business.
my wife likes to talk on the telephone, too. Don't you like talking on the telephone? I thought most women like to talk a lot.
Yeah, I like to, but I can never get on the phone because my mom...
Because your mother's on the phone. So what do you do besides aerobicize and dance? You like to swim?
I love swimming, but I can't go for, Actually, I don't want to go yet. I've been in the pool, but I just don't want to go right now because I went in my friend's pool. When I got out, my lips were black and blue.
Was that cold, you mean? Yeah. Did you ever scuba dive or snorkel? Do you know what that is? Where you put on the mask and go underwater?
Yeah, but I put on goggles. I can never pronounce that.
Goggles?
Goggles.
Goggles. Well, you pronounce it very well.
I can't.
Yeah. So you did put on goggles once and looked underwater.
Yeah, and the goggle was too big for me, so water got in my eye.
Oh. Look, we're going to cut away for a moment to do a commercial.
Sure.
You know what those are, don't you?
Of course, I've been on some.
Yeah, you've done some commercials. Then we'll come back and we'll talk some more, okay? Okay. And if you just joined us, we are... And my first guest tonight is this charming young lady, Drew Barrymore. You know, you're the only second lady I know named Drew. My secretary is named Drew. That's kind of an unusual first name, isn't it, Drew? It's a pretty name.
Thank you.
Do you have any other friends named Drew at all? Do you know anybody?
I know a Drew. I know 3 Drews.
You do?
And whenever I say I'm going to call Drew up, my mom gets confused. So she doesn't know what Drew is.
Yeah, you have pretty smile. You have pretty teeth.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Tell me if you noticed this. It would be kind of easier to talk without my teeth.
What are you talking about?
me see those now. Give me a little smile. They're really growing, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you wear this when you do...
TV shows, yes.
Well, at least you're honest. Now, most women I know would not do that. They wouldn't like anybody to know that secret, that you were wearing a little clip in there. But you won't have to wear that much longer, will you?
Flipper.
Yeah, that's just so your teeth kind of line up and...
Yeah, but they kill.
Yeah? Doesn't it feel very good?
No, they don't.
You want to keep it out then? We'll just talk without it?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I wish my mom
Just
would.
clip it. Now, don't forget that when you leave now. It's not polite to leave teeth on somebody else's desk. Over.
No, my mom would kill me if I left him here.
Your mother would kill you.
Yeah, she was about to when I lost him the other day.
Yeah. Is your dentist obviously made those for you?
Yeah, Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith.
He's a real good dentist.
Good dentist?
He made my retainer too. It's purple.
Yeah? Do you like going to the dentist?
Of course.
Are you serious? You're the first person I've ever met who likes to go to the dentist.
Yeah, I like to have my teeth cleaned and have that yucky stuff in your mouth. Tastes good.
Tastes good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why I like going to the dentist?
Why?
Guess.
Okay. You got a crush on Dr. Smith.
That's one reason.
How old a man is your dentist?
He never told me that.
Well, what would you guess? What would you consider an old man?
Well, he's not that old.
He's not that old.
I guess he's about in his 30s or 20s.
Or 30s or 20s?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not the reason you'd like to go, huh?
No, but because I like to because I don't want to have cavities.
That's right.
And plus, guess why?
Why? Why?
Because I like going to the dentist because he's teaching me things and I get my teeth cleaned. And you know what? He's very gentle with teeth.
He's gentle?
Yeah.
That's nice. Maybe I should go to him, too. Yeah.
Maybe you should.
Yeah. Now, want to talk about E.T. a little bit?
Why not?
Okay. I may end up running off with you myself, you know.
That's what Steven says.
It's Steven Spielberg?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good director, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get the part? Didn't you have to go in and test for this?
Well, first he interviewed me for Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. Mm-hmm.
And actually, I didn't want to do that movie because it was kind of scary.
It's too scary.
And probably if I went in and I said, "Excuse me, but it's my film," he'll probably say, "Isn't it too scary for you to be in?"
Yeah.
So he interviewed me and he said, well, she has too much personality. So he said, we're going to interview, I'm going to make a movie and it's going to be E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And she said, and Kathy Kennedy said, wait a minute, don't you have to interview her? And she goes, that's one good reason.
Yeah.
And so first he interviewed me, see if I could be in awe of something.
In awe.
And whatever it's called, okay, so.
In wonderment, in awe, right? You have to. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, the ceiling's crashing in on me.
That's good. That's awe. That's awe.
And then he tests me to scream. Ah.
Can you scream good?
Okay.
Can you do it? Just give me a scream.
Okay.
Just.
Guys, ready?
Okay, we're ready. If you do that with your teeth in, they'd be over there about 40 feet away. Because you did have to scream in the picture, didn't you? That's a good scream.
Yeah.
Have you always been able to do that? Just to scream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was quite hard at the time. I had a sore throat.
Had a sore throat and you screamed into
But
it.
you know what?
What?
I said, Steven, I'm going to try my best. So I practiced so much at home that I was able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day, I screamed my throat off. When I got home, I was sweating.
Yeah.
I needed to take a shower badly. I was filthy. 'Cause, you know, floors are filthy these
You
days.
can get filthy that way, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My shoes were all scuffed up.
Yeah.
I'm glad they weren't these. Mom would have.
Yeah. Somebody told me, now I don't know whether you know this, somebody said you had, I was talking about your dentist. There's a young man on your swimming team that somebody said you were kind of fond of? Is it true? Are you on a swimming team?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You must be talking to. I don't think I am on a swimming team.
Well, somebody said now, in your swimming class, a boy named Stephen.
Oh.
That's awe again. Oh. Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you enjoyed making the movie. Are you going to make some more motion pictures? Is that what you'd like to do? You come from a very famous acting family, of course. You know that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your grandfather would be the great John Barrymore, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever see any of his pictures at all?
Yeah, one, but I didn't like one.
No?
I wasn't interested in that kind of.
He was a great actor. I think you've inherited the Barrymore talent.
There's only one movie that I didn't like.
Ah, well, that's not bad, because he made
It was kind of scary movie.
kind of... Well, wasn't he making E.T. scary? Did you like E.T.?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a cute face.
Cute face? Yeah, well, a lot of people wouldn't think it was cute, but you came to kind of love it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say hi to Steven?
Sure, you want to say hi to Stephen?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, Steven, I love you.
Second best again. Story of my life with women, yeah. Are you going to do another motion picture?
I'm hoping.
You hope so, huh?
I shouldn't tell you this, but I think there's going to be a sequel.
You shouldn't... Are you telling some... You weren't supposed to tell me?
Well, I can tell you.
I'll keep it just between us, then.
That's fine with me.
That's fine with you. There may be a sequel to E.T., huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you think if there is, you might be in it?
There's a chance.
There's a chance. All right, we have a little piece of film from E.T., about 45 seconds. We're going to, for you people who haven't seen the picture. What, is this the breakfast? The what?
Dinner scene.
The dinner scene. Okay, watch the monitors. Here's a little scene from E.T. Some of you already know what it's all about. You can see it right over here. That's good.
I enjoyed making that movie.
You enjoyed making that movie? Well, I would guess so.
Yeah. But
Yeah, everybody in the world is going to see it. I understand besides Steven Spielberg, you also, Dudley Moore is one of your favorite actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you met Dudley?
No, but I'm hoping.
But you're hoping.
Do you know I have a little song for you?
You have a little song for me?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, can I sing it to you?
Well, you sure can.
It's about your face.
About my face. Okay.
You got the cutest little baby face. It is so cute, no one can take your place. Baby face, baby face, baby, baby face. That's all.
Thank you.
Do you know,
No woman has ever sung to me before with her teeth out.
do you know it's true?
What's true?
You do got the cutest little baby face.
You think so, huh?
And you deserve that song.
Well, that's very nice. And I like you, too.
Thank you.
And I wish you much success, and would you like to come back and be on the show again sometime?
I'd love to.
Well, you've got an invitation anytime you want to. Okay? I want to thank you for coming. Okay? Now, don't forget your teeth. Take your teeth. Okay? Thank you. That is some remarkable 7-year-old girl.
Why?
She's just as completely uninhibited and natural and sweet. It's nice. Why can't you be like that?
You've got the cutest little baby.
We'll be right back after this.
I have known Johnny Winters for about 17 years, and I have never ceased to be amazed at his talent. He's genuinely a funny man. And he has his own television show syndicated around the country. And on April 6th, he will be up at the Sahara Tahoe. Would you welcome, please, Jonathan Winters. Hello, John.
Oh, gosh.
Pretty thrilling, huh?
Well, it is. I wore my new sweater. New for me. It was in a fire sale, and I grabbed it up. I'm not proud. A lot of my things are used. The shoes I bought those in the same sale. Not ashamed of that.
No.
It was a fire sale, and that's about all there is to that.
I gotta tell him what you did to me. You may not even remember this. Remember when Jack Parr was doing the old CBS morning show?
Right.
I think that's the first time you were really ever appeared on television, about 1955, 56. And we did it out at Grand Central Station. And we did 2 shows, one at 7 o'clock, which played in the East. And then at 8 o'clock, the Midwest and West would join the network. And then you had to go back and repeat the first hour of the show live for the West Coast again. And I'd met you the first time then. And I was back there filling in for Robert Q. Lewis on a daytime show. And you called me at a hotel once. You won't remember this at all.
There are a lot of things.
But I remember. I know there are many things you have done.
I don't remember.
That are a little dim.
My mind has failed me a number of times.
But on this particular thing, I was staying at a little cheap hotel back there. A real cheap hotel.
Yes, right.
And I got this call one day, and it was from you, although I didn't know it at the time. And I was just finishing up the show. I said, Johnny Carson? I said, yes. He says, Mr. Weldon, I'm with J. Walter Thompson advertising agency in here in New York. My ears, just the whole scalp went up. And he says, we are doing some commercials for the Buick Company. I remember it so well. And he says, we'd like you to be our spokesman. And, of course, there's $2,000 in it and a new Buick. And right then, $1 would have been, didn't have any money. And I knew that you knew that I had to go back to California. I had to come back and do a show I was doing, and I wouldn't be there. So I started to do, little disclaimers like, I'd love to do it, Mr. Weldon. And then you started to get nasty. Just a little bit. Well, look, what do you mean you can't do it? That's the trouble with you California guys. You come into town, give you a job, and you don't want to stay. And then you got really angry. And I'm practically dying. And I could have killed you at that time. And then he says, that's Johnny Winters. And I could see the Buick just flying away. And I'd already spent the $2,000 on the house driving the car. You did little cutie things, didn't you?
Well, I still call guys up, and I still answer the phone as different people. I love to do that. One of my favorite stories, I love to, maybe, be an old person, and someone will say, hello, is Jonathan Winters there? And I'll say, no, the boy is in the basement. He's combing the kitty. Say, well, who's this? Well, just an old man who wanders around his house. And a lot of times you get odd reactions from people at the other end. But one of my favorite stories was, I've told it before, but it is a fun story. Several years ago, a number of years ago, I'd gone back to Ohio to see my mother and my stepfather and several relatives. And it was at Christmas time, and all of us were feeling no pain. My stepmother, my stepfather was certainly in rare form. And my mother had had a few, and I'd had several. And,
Drink of your choice.
Yes. A little touch of the grape. And like many people who imbibe in drinks, you get telephonitis and want to call the world. And so I wanted to call a friend of mine, and his name was Art Lytle, and he and I had gone to school together, and he was a funeral director. And so I called him, and I assumed a character, and I knew that he hadn't seen me or heard my voice in a long, long time. So I knew I was home free. And I called him up, and he owned and still does to this day, the Jackson Lytle Funeral Home in Springfield. And so I said, "Hello, is Mr. Arthur Lytle Jr. there?" And he said, "Yes, speaking." And I said, "Is this Arthur Lytle Jr.?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, this is Elwood P. Suggins, and I live out on the Lakewood Beach area. And my brother passed away here Sunday week, and I was wondering if you could do a job on it." And there was a long pause. And he said, "How long did you say he'd been dead?" I said, "Well, he passed away here Sunday week." And he said, "Good Lord, man, where have you got him?" And I said, "Well, most of our people are from Boise, and I didn't want them to have him come that far just to look at grass, you know. So what we did, we put him out there on the porch and set him up against the lattice. And cold spell set in, just kept him harder than a cart." However, the other day, sun come out, and he commenced to get fleshy. And his face dropped a little bit. And but I tell you, Mr. Lytle, even in death, there's humor. My eldest boy, Lamar Jean, twisted the deceased hand around and put a softball in it. Well, Lytle lit into me. He said, "Good heavens, I've never heard anything like this." So then of course, I broke in. I said, "Well, it's Johnny Winters," and he said a few things. Those are some of the little things that
What is the wildest thing you've ever done?
The wildest thing?
Yeah, that you remember. No, the reason I can say that is because we know each other.
Yes.
We have spent some evenings together.
Oh, a number of good evenings.
When we had been talking to
Yes.
bushes at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I remember.
I guess, I'm trying to think the wildest thing I ever did. Well, I remember one story very well. I was sitting, this was back east, I was back in New York. You were talking about an advertising agency, made me think about this. And telephone rang, and I went to the telephone, and I decided I would become a character, as I just mentioned. And a man said, "Hello, is Jonathan Winters there?" And I said, "That little funky man's on a little tractor, and he's out in the backyard cutting some grass." And so he said, "Who's this?" And I said, "This is Sam." "Who are you?" And he said, "Well, this is Mr. Cavendish, and I'm with Ben and Bowles or something, and I'd like to talk to Mr. Winters." He said, "You mean Johnny? Let me see if I can find Roundo." So, gee, you're going to see this guy at the other end of the phone. So I then shifted my voice. I said, "Hey, Roundo, come on in. There's a phone call for you. Get on it." So I said, "Hello, this is Jonathan Winters." And then the guy at the other end said, "Who was that I was talking to?" I said, "I'm on the phone, too." So It's fun to do these little voices.
Yes.
Upset a few people.
Here's Ed to tell you about a great new opportunity to try one of the most remarkable vacuum cleaners ever made. We're back. My guests tonight are Joan Rivers, Judy Collins, and Johnny Winters. Your syndicated show has been renewed, I hear, and you're going to do something else on CBS?
Yeah,
We can mention that.
I hope we can.
Of course.
Because the networks, they can stand that, I think. I always know there's a little friction, between the three, but what the heck, they're all making a lot of bread. I start doing my little show. It's a half hour, and it will start on CBS here in Los Angeles, 7:30 to 8, around the middle of April. I don't have the exact date. I hope it'll be around the middle of April. That's what they promised me that. And then I'm going back east to New York on Monday, and it'll be back there. It'll start. It's already in Philadelphia, in your hometown, Big Ed.
Yes.
And I was discharged, in Philadelphia.
Very good.
Yeah,
Fellow Marine.
fellow Marine.
That's right, you
I
were
was
in
a
the Marines.
corporal. He was a colonel.
Yes, that's right. I remember.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of difference there. Rarely do you guys mingle with the enlisted guys, right? Right, kid? Oh, well.
You didn't like the service, if I remember. We sat around talking about that several nights.
No, I got along fairly well in the service.
No.
I was always disturbed because I didn't know where I was. And unless you're an officer, you see, you're not clued in. And you're not given the top papers, which I felt I should have had at least one or two papers. And I kept asking questions, which is always trouble. Running up to a captain, or a colonel like yourself and saying, "Where are we, sir?" "None of your business. Move out." And I was always moving out. I was frightened a great deal of the time. I was frightened of the guys. I didn't understand a lot of them. They didn't understand me. I was kidding all the time, I'd be in grandma 1 minute. And, "Hi, honey,"
That would,
A lot of guys didn't understand.
That would shake up a barracks late
And
at
I
night,
turned,
yes.
I'll never forget, to a bird colonel, and did a voice on him, which I'll never forget. And I said, "Oh, sir, what is your name?"
Little sense of humor.
Don't do that in the Marines very often. So I was misunderstood a great deal of the time. But I got out eventually. I knew I would. I had good feelings about that. And I got out. I spent 2.5 years, and then I wandered around aimlessly, looking for odd jobs. And being odd, I found a lot of odd work.
We were talking about the first thing people ever remembered. Judy remembers at 2 years old or 3 and 4. Do you remember back that early when you were a kid? The 3 and 4 years?
Back to 1.
To 1?
I remember the beads on the ankle. Oh, remember the blue beads and the nurse putting them on it? No, that's pretty far back. No, I remember. I'd have to go along with the girls. I remember back about 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 or 4. And I was an only child, as you know, Johnny.
Yes,
but,
sir.
I didn't have any brothers or sisters, and that
Was it lonesome?
It was for a while. And then I realized that any goodies that would be handed over would be handed over to me. But no, I was an unusual child. You can imagine.
Yes.
I was frightening old people a lot. Scaring them on the porch or something like that. And doing in class. I was a slow student. I was dumb.
That's what they used to call him. He's slow.
Teachers, yeah. The teachers would say the boy's slow. But I was, you can imagine, the little girl next to me, somebody like yourself, I go, and the girl would laugh and then point at me and say, "Johnny Winter's doing things, Johnny Winter's doing things." And I'd run out and jump through the window or something. But no, I was not a very good student. I had very poor concentration. And I was scared to death of the blackboard. There was something about to me, nothing today scares me like when the teacher would say, I remember we had Miss Metzger, who was a very unusual woman. I don't want to go into a long story there. She was tough and could have made a sergeant easily. And I was frightened of her, and she knew that, and she took advantage of that, I felt. And she would say, "John Winters," talk like a man to me a lot. That's unfair, but she sounded sometimes like very, very strong. And she said, "Go to the board." And I said, "Yes, Miss Metzger, I'll go to the board." And I was always turning to a student. And because I never knew where I was never prepared. And give me the answer, quick. And I'll never forget, there was a guy called Alden Sonander. There's an
Alden Sonander.
Alden Sonander turned to me and he said, "We learn by doing." And, I killed him at recess.
We learn by doing.
There's
always one of those.
There's always one of those guys. Yes. And bless his heart, he was a very bright student. He was the brightest guy in our class. I always remember that. He was pages and pages ahead of everybody. And I was pages and pages behind everybody. Many days, I remember, it seemed like I was sick a great deal of the time because I wanted to be. And on warm, sunny days, I always had a cold. And Mother, I shouldn't go. And she'd grab me like this, and place me on the bicycle. Ow. And, right to school. A lot of times I roller skated. That was fun. Remember roller skating?
Sure.
Yeah. Roller skated and rode the bicycle. Walked, ran.
Happy childhood, though.
Happy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Fairly happy.
Yeah.
I was broke a lot of, That's not fun when you're broke all the time.
That's right.
But I would lay for people in bushes and...
What were some of the jobs you did before you got into...
Some of the jobs I did?
Yeah, before you started... Started getting into show business.
Oh, some of the jobs I did? I worked in a theater. I was an usher in a theater.
So was I once, yeah.
Before I even got out of high school, I was an usher.
That's what I did.
And I worked in a place called the... I'm trying to think of the bar. Well, anyway, I remember it was a circular stage. And I was going around on that thing and doing little funnies, and I got something like $25 for the weekend and all I could drink and eat. And then I went into the service when I was 17, came out, and then I did a lot of things. One thing I always remember, I worked for the Coca-Cola bottling company. I was an inspector. And looking for dead mice and marbles. I sat on a little stool, with a neon light, and did this. And just watched bottles all day long. And then I picked apricots and picked potatoes, shucked corn. You probably did that in Nebraska.
Sure.
And I worked. I was a fry cook in the Yellowstone.
Yellowstone Park?
Oh, yeah, in the Yellowstone National Park. And worked 9 o'clock at night till 5 in the morning, cooking steaks and hamburgers and just little short order things.
You've done a lot of things.
For the what do they call them? I can never remember the guys. Park attendants.
Rangers.
Yes. Yeah. That kept people from the bears and things. But I did a lot of kooky. I think most of us have done odd,
weird things,
unusual jobs.
We have to do something here.
What are you doing here now?
Well, we're going to sell a little something.
Oh, good.
And then Dr. Stillman will come out and...
Dr. Stillman will come out and help us.
So we can use it.